Coming up on TekThing, speed up your cable modem, Microsoft Surface Pro, cheaper alternatives might come at a cost. What's the FAA say about batteries on planes, DNSCrypt, and more. It's all coming up on TekThing. Thank you, patrons. Without your support via patreon.com/TekThing, we wouldn't be able to make the show for you every week. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Especially if you've been thinking about upgrading your cable modem.
Yes!
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
We had a suspicion that you had questions about speeding up your cable modem or your cable service. Number one tip, if you never unplug your cable modem, if you haven't unplugged your cable modem in forever, unplug it, count to 30, plug it back in. Just run a speed test and then go do that. Your cable modem reloads or updates the operating system when it reboots, so you might actually see a gain in performance if your provider has updated the firmware settings or whatever magical things cable internet
Cable things.
Cable things.
That's a good point. And yeah, definitely try that before you go out and buy a new one. A lot of you guys had the same problem that I was having for a long time, where one person in the house is doing something online, like uploading a picture to Facebook, while somebody else is trying to game, and then one of you keeps on having lag or speed issues. So for example, I would back up a picture to Google Drive, and then my husband would get lag on his online game, and then he'd be like, "Baby, why is the game lagging?" I'd be like, "I'm sorry, I'm uploading pictures."
I'm getting flagged!
Most ridiculous reason to get lag, but it's time to fix that. We got tons of questions on Twitter, but here's an email that I wanted to bring up. Patrick?
Guillermo writes, I bought the SB6141 4 years ago to upgrade from my old dinosaur Motorola modem, and I'm still having the problems you're having. Why did I buy this stupid modem? Did you buy another Arris or a different brand? Do you think the Surfboard SBG6580 DOCSIS 3.0 would be better? I'm currently using the TP-Link Archer C7 router with no problems. Guillermo.
All right.
Let's talk about channels!
Yay, channels! Yes. So how do you know if you're picking up any kind of lag or speed? How do you pick a new modem? If you need better performance, or do you even need to upgrade it in the first place, or can you just reboot it?
The answer may surprise you.
Yeah, turns out I just needed more channels. All the traffic on your cable modem, upstream and downstream, gets split across several different channels in the cable line. So every single DOCSIS 3.0 modem has a minimum of 4 channels required, and more channels means you get more bits, which equals out to higher speeds that cross that cable line. Now, if you go check out DOCSIS over on Wikipedia, luckily they had a huge write-up, and I was researching all this stuff before.
This is a thrilling, having been reading this on and off for years.
Boring.
It is dense.
It's so boring. But basically, down here they have a nice little handy dandy chart. Downstream channels over cable on DOCSIS 3.0 carry 38 megabits per second in the US or 50 megabits per second in the EU, and those are the speeds from the cable company to your home. That's the maximum each channel in a cable modem can give you.
Woo.
Multiple channels are always bonded together to give you some kind of max speed. So in the USA, that would be 304 megabits per second max download with 8 channels, or 1.4 gigabits per second if you have a 32 channel modem.
Just because you bought a 32 channel modem doesn't mean you're actually going to get a gigabit down.
Yes,
or 1.4
exactly.
gigabits per second.
Obviously, your mileage may vary a little bit because your account may not service
Right.
those same speeds, etc., etc. Now, upstream channels carry 27 megabits per second max. So for a 4-channel modem, it would equal 108 megabits per second, and 8 channels can deliver all the way up to 216 megabits per second max. I don't know anybody personally who gets 216 megabits per second max upload, but that's pretty good.
I've seen some corporate accounts, but they cost a staggering amount.
So cable companies, obviously, they're going to sell those at lower speeds for congestion, because you're going to share that network with everybody else in your neighborhood that also has a cable modem with that ISP. Now, even though I get the same 12 megabits per second upload speed from Comcast, when I double the channels in my cable modem, that fixed the lag issues that we were having at my home, so my husband can now game without lag even if I am uploading videos to YouTube, which is awesome. Now, even better than this, my cable modem download speeds had jumped to 242 megabits per second, all the way from 202 megabits per second.
That's
so
healthy.
I almost got a 50 megabit per second increase by buying a new modem.
It's like 20%.
Now, don't ask me why. See, I'm currently on like a $60 plan with Comcast, and it's supposed to come with up to 200 megabits per second download and then like 10 upload. Don't ask me why I'm getting faster than guaranteed speeds. I don't know. There's a lot of variances that go into those. That could be the time of day, how many users are currently on it, what your location is, what kind of cable lines are coming into your home physically. There's a lot of little issues there.
I'm never gonna say no to more bandwidth from Comcast without paying extra.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So when we get back over to Guillermo's question, I will pull up the one that he has over on the internets. So this is the one that he has. It's the same exact one that I have. It's the Motorola Surfboard 6141. It has 8 download and 4 upload channels and a potential max speed of 343 megabits per second download and upload speeds of 131 megabits per second. Now, if you go and check out the 6580, which I believe is right here, yes, the 6580 DOCSIS 3.0, basically it's not really an upgrade, it's just adding Wi-Fi to the box, because this cable modem Wi-Fi router is the exact same as the old 6141 DOCSIS 3.0 cable modem. There's no increase in speed there. It's the same channel capacity, same speeds. So keep that in mind.
I groan because like the only thing worse than a cheap Wi-Fi router is a cheap Wi-Fi router built into a cable modem.
Oh, I hate them so much.
So which modem did you upgrade to?
So the one that I upgraded to is the Arris Surfboard 6190. This one would probably work for you too. It has 1.4 gigabits per second download and up to 262 megabits per second upload. It comes with 32 download and 8 upload channels. So that means you would get an increase in how many channels you're being serviced. It also supports IPv4 and IPv6, and it is also DOCSIS 3.0. Now, of course, it's not 3.1.
DOCSIS 3.1 is actually, so DOCSIS 3.1 is being rolled out.
Yeah.
It's backwards compatible. Is there any reason you didn't go ahead and like get ahead of the curve and buy a DOCSIS 3.1 modem?
I totally could have. I really like the Arris brand. I'm a big fan of them. They've worked for me forever. So the one that I went with, or I could have gone with, is this SB8200, which is DOCSIS 3.1, which it has been available for a couple of years with Comcast, and Comcast does currently support. Yeah, in several markets. Your market might be different. It does have the same channel amount, but it's for gigabit plus speeds, and it's also $100 more. It's $200 as opposed to $100, which was what I paid. So with this one, it would be able to support capacities of at least 10 gigabits per second downstream and 1 gigabit per second upstream. So personally, we just opted to not spend the extra $100 and try the cheaper one first and see if that would fix the problem, because I don't want to spend $100 if I don't have to. I would rather spend $100 for a modem that will last me a few years and fixes the problem than $200 on a modem with speeds that I don't currently need or that I get with my $60 that I pay to Comcast every month. I also don't want to pay more money to Comcast every month to increase our speeds to a higher service bracket when I don't necessarily feel like I need that right now. Because the only issue I have is lag. Like, downloads are pretty fast. It's just lag with this game.
I mean, you've got like 200 megabits, well, 242.
Apparently, it's pretty sweet on a good day.
With your current modem, but you know, you still have the same 12 megabit per second upload.
Yeah.
Nothing, like almost nothing you can actually download or transfer over the internet is going to run at the full 200 megabits.
Exactly.
It's not like you're going to be running like 6 4K download video streams simultaneously in your house.
I don't even have anything that can do 4K yet, but when I do, maybe I'll upgrade.
If anybody at Comcast is watching, if you want to do like an extra 10, 20 bucks a month to double my upload speed, this is the thing. I know we're going to be waiting forever for DOCSIS 3.1 to roll out, but if you want to just, you know, I'll give it 10, 20 bucks would be worth it for me to upload video faster. I'm just saying.
Okay, so this brings us to another message that we got from John. He said, "Hi Patrick and Shannon, I had been doing research on a new modem myself because I wanted to buy my own and stop renting Comcast modem. What I think I learned was that I have to use a modem provided by Comcast because I have Comcast phone services, and replacing that type of modem is not only more expensive but much more complicated if possible at all. No one ever seems to talk about upgrading a modem if you also have voice service. Do you know if I came up with the correct information? Thanks, from John." Patrick?
Okay, I nerded out on this.
I know.
In part because, about once every 2 years, Comcast is like, we'll give you internet for $8 a month if you just buy, telephone and cable. And I don't want either telephone or cable. But I'm curious, right? So you need to check out this glorious link, xfinity.com/support/internet/list-of-approved-cable-modem.
Lord.
Yeah, the best part about this page, the approved equipment for Xfinity Internet and Xfinity Voice, is they don't actually list any products on this page. Oh, Comcast, I love you so much. What they do send you to is mydeviceinfo.xfinity.com. If you have an account, you can just log in and do this. If you want to kind of be secret, you can type in a zip code and select a download speed and find equipment, and bang. Wow, that was just amazing. And basically now you can go in and checkbox any additional services you have, for example, voice and telephone enabled. Do me a favor, don't get a Wi-Fi enabled router because they suck. Did I say that out loud? I guess it did. So in any case, what we got here is the Arris SVG 2482AC retail wireless gateway with voice. The retail wireless gateway with voice, the Netgear C7100V. The Arris TG862R retail wireless gateway with voice, and then 2 retail telephony modems. So basically, here in Northern California, we have 3 cable modem /router /VoIP combos, and they cost around $270. I'm not sure I want a cable modem /Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
And then a couple of the EMTAs, which are embedded multimedia terminal adapters. That basically means it's a cable modem with support for VoIP, and those sell for around $150. That's the the Arris, like the retail telephony modems, those TM82R and the TM82-2G.
What kind of DOCSIS are they?
DOCSIS 3.0.
Okay.
The 2 EMTAs are, and one of the routers are 8 channels down and 4 up. While the 2 $270-ish router modem VoIP box combos are 24 down and 8 up, giving you like a 648 megabit per second max.
Wow.
Not as fast as Shannon's router, but probably faster than the one you have now. Or modem, sorry, cable modem. Faster than Shannon's. Not as fast as Shannon's cable modem.
Not as fast.
But probably better than what you have.
Yeah.
Should offer you some future proofing. I don't know when Comcast is going to make that kind of a speed affordable. Remember, this is for my area in Northern California. You're going to want to check mydeviceinfo.xfinity.com in case the modem compatibility is different in your region.
Okay, cool.
So
now there are a few other considerations that you probably want to think about. Like for example, do you want to rent or buy? So I would recommend buying one because the rental price is just crazy over time if you rent one from like Comcast, for example.
Right.
My modem obviously worked out for 4 years plus a few months, so I got my money's worth easily, especially because I think the old one was like $80 or something.
Right.
And I just fixed my lag issues. I could have continued using that if I didn't have lag issues, but I did, so I decided to upgrade. Do you want used or new? That's pretty much up to you. I prefer new because I know it's never been used before. I know nothing else, no new firmware has been on it by some old user. Separate device or combo router modem, like Patrick mentioned, go separate if you can. Yeah. It does offer more compatibility, and if you want to do things like install router-based VPN or open source router software, all of those things are available on those separate routers and much easier to install too. Now, should you have extra warranty?
Extended warranty.
I know you like your warranties, Patrick.
On my truck. On my truck, yes. On almost every consumer electronics device other than my phone.
Other than your phone, yeah.
Phones, I always get the extra warranty if there's breakage because I suck at screens.
When it comes to modems, I'm gonna say heck nah, okay? Modems last for freaking ever unless you throw it at a wall or toss it on the floor like I did last week on the episode. I'm pretty sure it's dead now.
Really hot closets. If you keep all of your gear in a closet and you're in some part of the country where it gets to 100 degrees, that will trash your cable modem.
Yeah, so just, be nice to the thing. It will last you for years. And also, if you're planning, or if you're currently spending tons of money with your cable ISP provider, call them up once a year. Ask for a better deal. That's what I do. Like once a year, I have a calendar thing that says February 1st, call Comcast. Tell them you're looking into alternatives. It doesn't work every single time, but it works. So try it. It's kind of worth it. It'll save you like $100 a year or something like that. At least it does for me.
Why not?
Just do it. So let me know if you guys have any other modem questions, but I think we covered most of the basics here. Yeah. Of course, if you guys have other recommendations for really good modems you would like to share, leave them down in the comments, or you can tweet us at Snubs, at Patrick Norton, and at TekThing. We got an email from Joseph who writes, "Hey Shannon and Patrick, I'm looking for a Surface 4 Pro competitor. Windows-based, portable, and powerful enough that I can take it out to clients' houses for a variety of reasons and to keep up with my paperwork on the go. I like the idea of having the option of typing when I need to, but using the touchscreen most of the time, just not at Surface 4 Pro prices. Help me, TekThing, you're my only hope." Joseph in Greenville, South Carolina.
I suddenly feel like a small droid with a silver hat.
You're my only hope.
Oh my goodness. So, laptops with detachable keyboards are definitely different than a 2-in-1 hybrid like Lenovo's Yoga or Dell's XPS 13 2-in-1. You know, this is like the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1. That's what a lot of people are thinking of, where it basically has a big hinge and it folds over into the back.
Right.
That said, it turns out that there are a ton of detachable keyboard options, right? What we're looking at right here is the Microsoft Surface Pro 4. Beware, a lot of the entry-level configurations suck if you need power.
Yeah.
You mentioned needing power. For example, the entry-level Microsoft Surface Pro 4 has a Core M3 processor and 128 gigabytes of storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, that's pretty low.
Let me be simple. It's $750, and it has 4 gigabytes of RAM.
You can survive.
Sure.
If you want to.
Absolutely. and look, if 90% of what you do is like, I'm watching Netflix, I'm chill, I'm doing some Facebook, I'm typing some email, then 4 gigabytes of RAM is going to keep you happy. If you want to do anything beyond like I'm on Facebook and I'm in Word or you know I have this small spreadsheet, then you want to go for something like the Surface Pro 4 with a Core i5 and 8 gigabytes of RAM. That also comes with 256 gigabytes of storage, which bumps the price up to $1,200.
Okay.
$1,200 is not cheap, but you will not weep while you're trying to run your database.
Right.
Because you're sitting there looking at the client and going, let me look up the price on that for you. And you hit enter, and then 7 minutes later, you're, you know, because...
Awkward.
Exactly. So when you're looking at light laptops without fans, a lot of times you're going to see Intel M3, M5, and M7. And when you see M3, M5, and M7, think performance will definitely be slower than when Intel's Core i3, Core i5, or Core i7.
Yes.
Our friends over at PCPer did this one. This is like the Huawei MateBook, which is a Core M5. Let me point out, megapixels per second higher is better. That's the Core M5. That's a Core i5 6300U. That's a Core i5. So you'll notice lag.
Yes.
Lag's not the right word. It's just much slower.
Yes.
It is painfully slower. And if you do something like, you know, really serious multimedia creation, like this is Handbrake compression, it's not quite as bad, but you're still looking at about a 30% trailing in performance.
So what kind of options would they have?
More than I thought.
Oh, good.
There are more detachable keyboard laptops than I had any idea. First up, let's take a look at the Lenovo Mix 510. It's $600.
Oh, I remember the Mix.
Basically affordable Windows tablets. Core i3 6100U. You can only get 4 gigabytes of memory and 4 gigabytes of memory only. USB-C instead of a proprietary charger. There's no SD card slot. So, you know, you have the storage you buy is all of the storage you're going to have without like plugging something into one of the ports on the side.
Okay.
Something we should point out, the Mix, like almost every other laptop we're going to talk about, has like a 12-inch, in this case, 1900 by 1200 display. It's a 16 by 10 ratio.
Okay.
And when you're talking about the Surface Pro, one of the really distinctive things about that is it's a 3 by 2 screen. Oh. So it's a very distinctive ratio that the Pro 4 has. Yeah. It also has a gorgeous screen. It's 2736 by 1824, which is considerably higher resolution.
It's pretty sexy.
It's nice. And you know, some people, they find the 3 by 2 screen on the Surface Pro to be maddening. I thought it was going to drive me nuts, but after about 2 days, I was golden.
Darren likes his.
They're nice.
Seems to work.
Another option is Samsung's Galaxy Books, comparable specs and prices to the Surface, unless you drop down from the 12-inch screen to a 10-inch screen and M3 processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, which is $629. That's great for watching video and puttering in Facebook. I don't think you want to run a database on that.
Yeah.
A really good bargain, and something we should point out is a lot of these might be towards the end of their life, is the Acer Switch Alpha. Yeah, it's like a 12-inch 2-in-1 QHD touch, Intel Core i5, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. $750.
Not bad.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's a 2160 by 1440 screen, USB Type-C.
Yes.
This one is looking like a really nice alternative. Maybe not as svelte and elegant, but certainly has a lot of the power
Okay,
you're
cool.
looking for. Huawei's MateBook got a lot of attention last year.
Oh,
but
yes,
this
the
is
MateBook.
Yeah, it's nice. Actually, it feels good. The build quality's nice. It's a Core M5, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. $800. Not a bad price, but remember you've got that slightly slower M5 CPU.
Yeah.
And if you want to get deluxe, Lenovo's ThinkPad X1. Fantastic
I
build.
love the ThinkPad X1.
Powerful CPUs, nice screen, but you're up in the Surface Pro 4 territory.
Yeah.
Because you've got a Core M5 with 8 gigabytes of memory, which is $1,100. So many options. One thing to think about, Surface Pro 5 should be on its way soon. And
Which means you might find the Pro 4 used somewhere for way cheaper.
yeah, or being sold out.
Yeah.
Or you may find out they've done something even more awesome for the same price when they release the 5.
Keep an eye on camelcamelcamel.com, which I know a couple of people linked us to, and we've recommended in past episodes to check on those prices as well, because you might see them go down or increase when sales times during the year come around.
You just don't want to wait too long, because then the prices tend to go up.
Yeah.
Because they know the only people buying then are desperate.
What are your picks? You can email ask@tekthing.com, or you can email or tweet them to @PatrickNorton, @Snubs, and @TekThing.
Thank you. I know it's late, but the April Patreon build is going up. I built a pfSense router out of an old PC. Look, if you're a patron, all our patrons can watch our build videos, subscribe to an audio-only feed, or check out videos of the edit of every show, and anything else we can think of to entertain you with at patreon.com/TekThing. That's where you sign up. And if you're a patron at the $10 level, you can join Shannon and I in a monthly hangout. Patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you for your patronage, people. You make the show possible. And hey, we understand if you can't donate. We want your questions. If you're curious to see us review something, you got a tip or an idea, please keep firing them out to ask@tekthing.com. We really appreciate it. Got an email from Dave. He wrote to ask@tekthing.com. Shannon mentioned that she was taking the Anchor battery with her to survive the flight to Australia. At 20 amp hours by 5 volts, this battery clocks in at 100 watt hours, the upper limit of consumer batteries allowed by the FAA and most other national equivalents. Batteries of up to 160 watt hours are allowed with permission from the airline. There is a lot of sensitivity in the airlines and security folks these days, so if you're anywhere near the limit, it's easy to run into someone who doesn't know what a watt hour is, but could be scared of it. I've been questioned twice, once by the airline and once by security about my 15 amp hour battery. Being able to quote the policies confidently and do the calculation for them enabled me to slide through both times. Always know the policy of the airline and the National Air Authority before traveling. This goes beyond just batteries if you are carrying anything that people don't see on a regular basis. Circuit board electronics and doodads being a big one. Being armed with information and explanations in case someone gets unwarrantedly alarmed by your giga is a key to your success. Something I thought might be useful for you and the audience, and maybe even help Shannon power that epic switch battle all the way to Australia without having the source of all power taken away. Dave.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Printing them out. A friend of mine who regularly has to travel with rifles has printed out of the airline's policy, the FAA policy, and he has multiple copies of them so he can be like, here you go. That's the policy from your website.
That's so great. I love it.
He's a little snarky,
I like
but
the
he
snark.
hasn't been denied passage.
So if you haven't checked it out, the FAA has this link, and we'll put this in the show notes so you can print out your own copy. But they do say size limits, basically 100 watt hours per battery. There is no requirement on quantities, so none for most batteries, but batteries used by the passenger, carried for sale or distribution are prohibited. And there is a limit of 2 spare batteries per person and for the larger ones that you have to get permission to carry, that 101 to 160 watt hours per battery. So Anchor lists the watt hours on the battery specifically for this one, which is very nice, but the calculation seems to be a little bit off. So to find the watt hour calculation, you take the milliamp hour divided by 1,000. So in this case, it's 20,000 divided by 1,000, and then you multiply that by the voltage. So this is 20,000 divided by 1,000 equals 20, and then you multiply that by 5 volts, and then you equal 100 watt hours.
Cool.
So keep that number in mind. That is the maximum which you can take on an airplane.
Without permission from the carrier.
Without permission. So they claim on here it's 77 watt hours on the battery, which means that the voltage would need to be 3.85 volts. But isn't that kind of weird?
Or maybe somebody at Anchor travels internationally a lot, and
Maybe.
they're like, we'll just
put that number on there, which is totally fine with me. I'll just be like, no, it's 77, see?
But you tested it.
I did test it. So in my testing last week, it showed charging one device, which was my Pixel XL, it could charge at 5 volts and 1.4 amps average. So it's good to keep in mind that calculation just in case you run into that problem. And just in case you can't do the calculation in your head, which I can't because I'm terrible at math sometimes, just go over to this website, convert milliamp hour to watt hours, and it will just calculate it for you. So I was at 20,000 divided by 1,000, and then there's 5 volts, calculates out to 100. Boom, there you go.
Woohoo!
Fixes the problem. But yes, thank you so much for messaging that in. Also, highly recommend reading that FAA guideline just in case you do carry lithium-ion batteries, which we have been doing for years because we have lots of cameras and we go to lots of conventions.
What's the most batteries you've carried on a plane with you?
12.
Wow. There'll be no swatting me with that.
I'm not going to hit you. It's fine. I need to make sure it's in the packaging for when I take it on the airline so that it's all the ports are closed and it won't have anything causing fires with it. More rules. We got an email from Jeff who writes, DNSCrypt, it says it all. You can't have privacy without using it. Albeit not easy to set up, but it's worth the struggle. I'm perplexed why you don't do a story, introduction, explanation, if not a tutorial, on the basics of this useful program. From Jeffs.
That's easy. I've never actually heard of it until now.
Really?
Really?
Oh, wow. I think we did an episode on Hack 5 long time ago about it. But it was Darren's segment, not me.
I learn something new every day on the good day. So
teach us, man.
If you're staring at the screen going, WTF is it? Well, you're going to love this paragraph. DNSCrypt.org is the place to go. It authenticates communications between a DNS client and a DNS resolver. It prevents DNS spoofing. It uses cryptographic signatures to verify that responses originate from the chosen DNS resolver and haven't been tampered with.
Okay.
So if you forgot what DNS is, the main service is the lookup table that turns something like TekThing.com into, I don't know, 143.21.7.5. No. Well, actually, that would be.
Or Google.com, which is 8.8.8.8, or at least one of their servers.
That's their DNS server. So in any case, right, because people don't speak dotted quad very well, we type in domain names and they get resolved. But DNS is used when you send email. If you've IM conversations, Slack, Signal. If you're on the internet, DNS is a big part of your life.
Yes.
And if you're really into privacy, you might discover that sometimes HTTPS and VPN don't manage to encrypt or even hide your DNS requests. Privacy aside, your DNS could get spoofed or hit with a man-in-the-middle attack and take you from really safe website.com to really nefarious website.com. And you know what? Securing your DNS probably even means no more pesky warnings from your ISP. Did you ever get one of those?
Not me.
I was like up at like
you got
90% of my Comcast cap, and it started like every page would open with a warning. I actually changed my DNS servers just to stop Comcast from telling me that I was running out of space.
Oh boy.
So DNSCrypt fixes that by derp giving you an encrypted connection to trusted DNS servers. Do yourself a favor, go to DNSCrypt.org. Don't get your tools anywhere else. It's an open spec, free and open source reference implementations, not affiliated with any company or organization, which is a big plus to Shannon and I, because so many times we see places like, we believe in privacy, especially privacy and ad-free service from these trusted vendors who have paid us money to tell you that they are trusted. Hate that. DNSCrypt, not like that. Because I am a simple creature, I installed Simple DNSCrypt, which actually removes a lot of the implementation difficulties that Jeff's Chips spoke about in his email. It's a simple management tool for DNSCrypt proxy. If you can click and reboot,
then it works.
Yeah, you can install this.
Okay, cool.
So this is what it looks like after you've installed it. It shows you your network devices. This one isn't connected, this one is connected, and woo! My DNS is encrypted.
That was it?
That was it. Well, it's kind of cool though. If you take a look in here, if you hit the clock right here, it will run benchmarks and then tell you the speed of the different DNS servers it has access to, which is going to take a few seconds to run.
Right.
If you go into the advanced settings, there's stuff like plugins, and I go to the plugin manager, and it's just a really interesting, thoughtful, simple application. I like it.
Okay.
I like it very much.
It looks easy enough.
It looks easy enough. By the way, if your network doesn't support IPv6, it turns out that apparently your apps can still try to resolve IPv6 addresses, which can slow things down. So that plugin I was looking at before, if I go into here, bink, and that'll actually eliminate, it causes the proxy reply immediately to IPv6 requests.
Well, that's
so
cool.
It's not sitting there trying to get a response that it's not going to get. I thought it was cool. It's free, and if you want to get crazy and have all of the encryption, it'll do it. And look, here's the benchmarks that it ran for all of the different DNS servers.
Oh, wow.
I will say,
Dude, that's cool.
It can get a little funky if you resolve. For example, I think I was running through a DNS server in Spain, and I kept getting like Spanish Wikipedia. Oh. Either that or my VPN was connected to Spain.
that'll happen.
One or the other was happening, and it was very strange.
That's funny.
But it's simple to set up, it's simple to use, and if you want to do that one last step because you are over the top enthusiastic about security and privacy, this is a way to do it without causing emotional trauma.
That's awesome.
And if you
Thank
go to
you for sharing.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you, Jeff's Chips. I was going to say, they have clients at DNSCrypt for like all the things: iOS, Android, Windows, Mac OS, Unix,
nice.
Routers,
Wow, they
source
didn't have
code.
What? I'm so surprised. Last time we checked this out, it was like years ago.
Yeah, they are serious. I much love.
They've grown a ton.
The DNSCrypt crew.
I need to check it out again.
One thing I wanted to do is to have DNSCrypt launch on start. And I don't know if you're running Linux, you've never run into this problem, but it turns out the startup folder, I've spent so much time removing things from Windows Startup.
Yeah.
It's been like years since I wanted to actually add an app to the startup group.
Do you have to go into an app?
Well, okay, so type in Windows key plus R.
Okay.
And then type shell startup, and you get that.
Oh.
And then you drag things into this.
Oh, really? That's it?
That's it. Drag things into that, and here, let's
That's
look
good to know.
for something on my desktop. Here, we're going to launch that web page.
That's cool.
And hit enter, and you're good to go.
So now it'll launch that web page whenever you start up.
Yes, which can be really irritating. So if you don't actually want to launch that, like I don't, delete that immediately. But that is how you add things to startup. It turns out, though, simple DNSCrypt does not launch when I drag it into there.
Oh.
So I'm still trying to figure out why that is. But every other app I've drug into there has
Maybe
launched.
I should get my coder friend to write you a script.
Maybe. I don't know if
He wrote me a script.
more scripts. Well, it was funny because I was like, gosh, how do you start something? Because most applications these days are like run at startup or automatically run at startup.
Yeah, it's just built in. That's what I usually use.
You don't have something that'll run at startup. This is a way to get it into the startup folder in Windows 10.
Well, that's cool.
Drag it in, people.
All right. We had a lot of information in this episode, so I want to go ahead and wrap it up with something chill. Well, not so chill, but it's pretty cool. Remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close the laptop, and do something analog, like Bill, who writes, Patrick and Snubs, is this a decent way to handle a failed hard disk drive before sending it off to be recycled? I tried a hammer first, but that didn't do much damage. From Bill in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, once you've gotten the drill press involved, unless somebody with a lot of time and money wants your data, you are good to go.
I want to shoot a hard drive now.
We can arrange that.
Okay, cool.
It's, I'm Barry Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. I've shot hard drives. We've melted them, right? We've melted them with hydrochloric acid here. We've done thermite. I still think the most satisfying hard drive destruction I ever had. We had somebody, their data failed, their drive failed, and they hadn't been backing up, and they're pissed.
Revenge!
the building manager of the building I used to work in San Francisco, he had a 20-ton hydraulic press in the basement. And he let us go in there with like a pair of pliers and the platters. And, you know, it was like, I think it was foot operated, so it was like, and 20 tons of pressure. And then we folded it and we kept, and eventually we had this little tiny cube that used to be the platter with the data on it. And we were like, here you go. And the person was like, is that? We were like, yes. So
That's awesome.
It was like the cube of data failure.
The cube of anger.
Which reminds me, if you haven't backed up your data lately, back it up, people.
3, 2, 1.